Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Council and Committee for February the 6th. Dean, call the order, please. Alan and Jennifer.
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Gauthier, that the Council Committee meeting of February 6, 2024 be called to order at 5:30.
All in favor? Carried. See Brian there. Roll call.
Mayor Bennett.
Present.
Reeve Watt.
Present.
Councillor Gauthier.
Present.
Councillor Hewitt.
Present.
Councillor Hughley.
Present.
Councillor King. Councillor Wren.
Present.
All members present except for Councillor King.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Keith and Wendy.
Moved by Reeve Watt, second by Councillor Hewitt, that the agenda of the Council Committee meeting of February 6, 2024 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Disclosure procurement interest, seeing none. No delegations. Under planning, Pembroke Area Airport.
So not really much to report at this point. We're in the middle of our year-end audit, which should be done by the end of this week.
Okay. Any questions for Alan? See none. Emergency management, Laurie, anything going on? No. Okay. We've done the corporate services. Brett has a report under year-end stats. Come on up, Brett.
Hey, okay, so we closed off the year end, relatively strong compared to some of the other neighbors that I've spoken with. Numbers are still down as far as strictly permits issued. Dollar values and permit fees are up. I've given a breakdown on the report, so you can see everything, but we're sitting roughly 12% less than 2022. In comparison, the CBO chapter group has been tracking each municipality because there were other concerns that they were dropping as well. And they're sitting anywhere from 22 to 30% less than 2022. So in comparison, we did drop off, but not near as much as others. I think we have a few reasons for that, and hopefully it keeps going to put us in a good position moving forward. There was a breakdown in numbers. Essentially, our biggest drop were new homes and pools. Everything else was kind of stable. I did highlight a few potential reasons for that, mainly, in my opinion, lack of available contractors, some materials, and just pricing increases. And then again, just to kind of reinforce that it's not doom and gloom, we're essentially back to where we were pre-COVID as far as numbers go. I think we were 133 permits in 2019, or 128 for 2023. So it's pretty comparable that way. The big ones, houses, we were 15 in 2019, 16 in 2023. So I think we're starting to see a return to a little more normal. Now, that being said, hopefully we can keep growing on that. We do have a few subdivisions, as you know, either approved or close to approval. Some should be starting to develop shortly, so when they do get going, that will definitely keep me busy. I don't know if you had any questions on the actual breakdown of numbers or the report in general.
Questions to council? I know with our commercial development, looks like for 2024 and hopefully increase in housing, I think you're going to be a busy man this year.
Yeah. There's some projects from 23 that didn't get started that will keep me busy, and a lot of inquiries too that, like I say, if they all come to fruition in a year or two, it's going to be a busy department. So.
Maybe have to bring Claus back.
Yeah, I haven't let him go yet, not completely. But
Okay, thanks,
All right,
Brett.
thank you.
Do we have a motion for that?
No.
Okay. Next is sale and disposition of surplus land policy. Is that you?
Yep. This is just a policy that's being updated. The last one was sometime in 2000 that we had this, so we're updating the sale and disposition of land, and basically just gives you a protocol of how it will work when a piece of property is declared surplus by the municipality for whatever reason. There is different scenarios as to, obviously, we need to get an appraisal to get a fair market value. And from there, then there will be set guidelines as to how that is going to be disposed of in a proper manner. So it's not really anything earth-shattering. It does have some of the similarities it had in the past. It's just updating it with the new legislation and new protocols.
Alan?
So if I read it correctly, Dean, we can still dispose of land through real estate? And
Correct.
we have the ability to set a minimum bid on it?
Correct.
So once a piece is declared surplus, it's not something that we have to get rid of it, even if we get a way below market offer, correct?
That's correct, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we would put a minimum bid on there so that, you know, if council sees fit that it's worth more than that, then we will stop at that amount.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from council? Motion?
Yeah, need a mover and a seconder, please.
Alan and Jennifer?
Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Gauthier. That the Corporate Services and Protection Committee recommend to council to approve the following policy. FIN 19, sale and disposition of surplus land, and that the bylaw 2024-02-009 as presented be forwarded to the bylaw portion of the February 20th, 2024 regular council meeting for enactment.
All in favor? Carried. Sean, for the Mixburg community.
Thank you. So you have before you a report where I'm recommending that we would grant the Mixburg Community and Cultural Center their grant request, which is $2,600. So we have a policy, FIN 07, and in that policy it states that any organization that's requesting funding must do so during the budget process, and if any requests are received subsequent to the budget process, they will be considered on an individual basis. I do have the treasurer from that group here tonight, Jennifer Meck, as well as two of her colleagues, Debbie and Sam, just to answer any questions from that group if council has. But basically, they reached out during the budget, just near the end of the budget process. And so anyway, I'm bringing this report forward just for your approval. I do list out the criteria in that grant or in that policy that they would need to meet to be eligible for the grant, and they do, in my opinion, meet all of the criteria. Supporting this application does meet a few of our aspects in our 2019 to 2023 strategic plan, and they were identified during the 2024 budget process as possible applicants. I kind of brought this during that budget process a little bit before maybe they applied, but they still applied during that process. So if there's any questions that I can answer, or if there's any questions that their treasurer can answer, we'd be happy to do that. So maybe I'll invite Jenny up to the table.
Hi, Jenny, welcome to Western Valley Council. Any questions? Brian has a question.
I just had one question. Are we not able to bring them under our insurance policy some way? It's one of their major expenses, and I think we've talked about this maybe in the past, but it would certainly be a big savings for them if they didn't have that insurance part.
So I can attempt to answer that. So like other recreation groups, the council would have to make them or deem them a committee of council, which is similar to what other groups are. I don't, maybe Dean, you have more familiarity on how the insurance works. Like, I mean, it's my first year here. I don't know if we bill back some of these groups the insurance premium or not, but.
Yeah, I think that the issue here is more so on the programming side. It's probably the ball and that kind of thing. I'm not sure if you cover their insurance, Jen, or not, if that's the component here.
So we share the liability with the ballpark, so I just give them a check for a certain amount, but then the structural insurance, like for the building itself, we have with Dean Peaver Insurance, so it's separate.
Yeah.
So just on that, I know like quite a number of years ago, the municipality made that request, and we went through the insurance, and the insurance basically told us what would have to happen is they would have to turn the property over to the municipality. So now it's municipal infrastructure, and then the committee would run it. And at that point, the committee wasn't comfortable with turning the property over to the municipality. And I think, Steve, you were around for that. I'm probably talking 15 or 20 years ago when we went down that road. Things may have changed by today, but that was what the insurance company told us at that point. But that being said, like, I would support this donation to that group. They've been in that area forever, and they do an amazing service to the residents down in that area of the municipality. Really hope that the ball soon comes back sometime. I know that's a struggle, but I think it's a really worthwhile recreation facility for the municipality.
I'm wondering possibly, is it worthwhile to look into it again? Maybe things have changed over the last 15 years.
Could be.
Might be worthwhile at least to look into it and see.
Yeah, I would suggest to maybe Jen and your group, just if that's something you want to intrigue yourselves with, of transferring the buildings over or looking at insurance, to call us, and we'll certainly,
Okay.
go on to bat and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Jen, I agree with Alan, all the stuff that you guys do down there, recreation-wise, volunteer-wise, huge to the municipality, and make sure you pass back to them that we really do appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
we have a motion.
Yes, please.
Keith? And when? Brian? See Brian's hand.
Moved by Reeve Watt, second by Councillor Ugly, that the Corporate Services and Protection Committee recommend to council to approve the grant request for the Nicksburg Community and Cultural Center.
All in favor? Carried. Next is handy bus. Sean?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
So a very similar report. This one did come through early in the budget process, came through, but I had one report coming, so I thought I might as well bring the second one, and same idea, to give that group or council the opportunity to potentially ask questions and have some representation at this table. But in any event, they're seeking $17,500 through this grant program. They have submitted all of the required documentation that they needed to, which is all attached to this, with their financial statements and a review engagement, et cetera. They do meet, in my opinion, all the parameters in the policy. So it would be my recommendation again to approve them that grant request, but it is $17,500. And we did discuss that they would be a likely applicant, or would be an applicant during the budget process. I do have Dan Callahan here, who would also, if you would like to come up, that if council would like to ask any questions regarding this application.
Hey, Dan. Welcome to Laurentian Valley Council.
Worship, members of council.
Any questions for Dan, or do you want to? Oh, Brian's got his hand up.
My question was just, we've given 12,500 in the past. This is a request for 17,500. That's about a 30% increase in it. When I look at your revenue and expenses for the year, you do have an excess of revenue over expenses, and I'm questioning the 30% increase in your request when you are showing more revenue than expenses.
Well, thank you very much for your question. The handy bus has been receiving $12,500 for over 35 years now. The reason for the increase is we have seen increased operating costs. We are using large amounts of money from operations to maintain vehicles, and we need to replace those vehicles. In the past, the province used to provide money for bus replacement. That went by the boards a number of years ago, so that money, that revenue source is no longer there for us. Again, we have an aging fleet, so what we're trying to do is keep the cost down to your residents while building up a reserve so that we can purchase another vehicle. The vehicle that we have now, we have a 2010 GMC that has come out of service. We have a 2013 Ford bus that is reaching the end of its life, and we have 2 vans. So they need to be replaced, and that's why we have asked for the increase. I should note that we did ask the city of Pembroke for an additional $10,000. And it's my understanding that they have approved that, so their grant will be $35,000 to us. If I could, I've got just to add a bit of a small report, if I can.
Absolutely, please.
Some of you, and a number of you have been involved with the handy bus. I know, Your Worship, we had a member of your family used to use the handy bus. And of course, we have Councillor Hewitt here that sits as your representative on the board. The handy bus began operations in 1989, and a founding member of that service and a guy with a lot of vision at that time was former councillor, the late councillor Jim Sheedy, sorry, was a member of our board. He and other members of our community saw the need to provide this essential services to those in our communities with physical and intellectual difficulties. And as I've told my board, you know, we want to go out and do something. We just jump in our car and away we go. But there's a lot of people in our communities that getting out for something as simple as a quart of milk isn't that easy. They need our services. Over the past 35, and I did some stats up, over the past 35 years, we've transported almost 300,000 individuals from Laurentian Valley and the city of Pembroke, and traveled over 1.4 million kilometers since 1989. In 2023, we provided transportation to 652 clients in wheelchairs, 4,790 ambulatory individuals, people using walkers or canes, and 554 support or companion individuals who travel with us free of charge. So if their daughter or son or husband wants to travel along to help them, they can. And as an example of some of the areas we cover, and by no sense stretch of the imagination is this all of them, but we have clients that are Golf Course Road, Beeline Road, Forest Lee Road, Round Lake Road, Highway 41, Mud Lake Road, Whitewater Road, Sars Lane, Stafford Third Line, Walford Road, Sandy Beach Road, Sherrill Street. So I can go on and on and on. So we cover the entire length and breadth of your township. And our service is a true door-to-door service. We will go to your door, we'll pick you up, we'll get you out to the vehicle, we'll get you where you need to go. And if you have parcels when you're coming back, our drivers will see that those parcels are taken into your residence for you. And what do? We provide this to attend appointments and outings such as medical appointments, dental appointments, grocery shopping, hair appointments, counseling services, even veterinary appointments, because we do have clients that have service animals. Swimming programs. We have seniors that go to the swimming programs. Day programs, such as the ones at Marion Hill. Adult schooling programs. We have a number of individuals from community living that attend adult schooling programs. We provide transportation to and from employment. We have individuals that have to get to employment that have disabilities, but they want to have a meaningful job just like the rest of us. They go out to attend family functions such as weddings, anniversaries, funerals, Thanksgiving and Christmas celebrations, birthdays, church services, sporting and cultural events, veteran and Remembrance Day ceremonies. So all the things that we would just jump in our car and do, we provide that service for people with disabilities, whether it's physical or intellectual. And again, I'd like to note that our drivers assist all the clients with door-to-door packages that they may have. And we do that for $6.50.
Well, I know, as you mentioned earlier, we did use your service a number of times with my father, and it was always first class, always on time, very cooperative. It was great, very good service. So I've only experienced a good service. That's it. I do have a question for you, though.
Yes.
And I know the city of Pembroke is trying to get a transit system operating. Will that affect you, or will the handy bus be combined with it, or is it a different clientele altogether?
I can't answer that, Your Worship.
Okay.
I can't answer that question because I know they're having a discussion about a transit service. How that unfolds, I don't know. At any rate, we are, it's Friends of the Disabled, we're incorporated, and I do have a board of directors, so it would be something, they would have to go to the board of directors. We would have to look at our bylaw and our incorporation and make a decision there.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Wendy?
I just kind of wanted to touch on that. In my opinion, I think it would be a different clientele because the handy bus offers door to door, where the transit system would just be like down your main street, right? So I don't think it would affect the same clientele.
No, I assume that, I just wanted to hear it, that's all. Okay, any other questions, council? Wendy, go ahead.
Not a question, just another
Comment.
comment. I've learned over the past year the amazing services that this place offers, and I know it is an increase, but I also want to remind council too that they've had the same grant for a lot of years, and where some grants usually you increase a little bit over time, and they haven't for a long time. And in order to keep the fares fairly low, they're only increasing 50 cents over the next little while, so people can afford it, and so this kind of helps subsidize some of that as well.
Dan, is that $6.50 round trip?
No,
Or per
that's
trip?
each way,
Each
and
way,
that's
yeah.
anywhere in the municipality.
Right.
And just to add to that, the actual cost, because we belong to an organization called CUTA, Canadian Urban Transit Association, the actual cost for that trip is about $19 each way. But through grants and through gas tax and through the fundraising efforts that we do as an organization, we keep that fare down. We're dealing with a clientele, for the most part, are on a fixed income. They're on a disability or their old age pension. So it's important that we keep that cost down, and so that they can get out and do what, as I say, we take for granted every day.
Absolutely. Dean?
Maybe just one comment, just for the record, just so we know that we also give, he mentioned gas tax, Dan mentioned gas tax, we give our share of the transportation gas tax to them as well, and I believe that's 14 or somewhere around there, around 14 or something thousand.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just, that's on top of the 17, so.
Okay.
But we've been doing that for years as well.
So, yeah.
Alrighty, nothing further, got a motion?
Yes, please.
Wendy? Jennifer?
Moved by Counselor Hewitt, second by Counselor Gauthier, that the Corporate Services and Protection Committee recommend to council to approve the grant request from the Pembroke Handy Bus.
All in favor? Passed. Thanks, Dan, keep up the good work. Thank you. Okay, Chief? So I guess we're gonna start with, Tim, the motion regarding the fire dispatch costing. And then we'll move into your report.
Okay, the costing concerning the Renfrew County?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. The, was it 35,000? I'm sorry, I wasn't,
21 for us.
21,
30, but no, we're,
35, I thought it was.
oh, yeah, sorry, that's my mistake, yeah, you're right. Okay,
This is for the system that they put in, it's a new, it's basically a new computer system is what it is, okay? What was happening before this system was put in, they would send us out a page, and they didn't know if we were receiving it or not, okay? This is one of the benefits of this system. The other thing was that the other system was so old that we were down to 2 computers that were actually working because they were using the other 2. They were using them for parts, okay? That's because they had put no money in this system for over 20 years. We've been working at it over 20 years to try and get them to do something. They've done half the job. They've got the computers now. They haven't done anything with the radios, really the radio part of it, which is the next step. So maybe in 20 years, I won't be around, but somebody won't be here. Anyway, you know, county takes a little time, but that's what it's for. And I guess how they've based it on population, and that's why our amount seems to be so high.
Any questions for Tim on this, or Alan?
So you say this is just for the computer system?
It's
not
basically, the
radio?
computer system was $300 and some thousand total, and they divided it between the county, the municipalities. Yeah, it really doesn't make me talking to them any better than it used to. They keep calling it the radio system, but it's really not the radio system. What they've put in is a system, they've replaced the system they had that tells them who belongs to where and who goes where, like what addresses belong to what fire department, okay? So it's really not radio, okay? Like me talking to you sort of thing.
And our 20-some-year-old radios are going to work on this system?
Oh, yeah, radios work fine on the system, yeah, because they've stuck with the analog. The digital and analog systems that's still nobody can come up with a real answer on that, because the digital sure works good, but it goes into areas where it doesn't work any better. So the analog system they stuck with, so, yeah.
So this is something we need and
Well, we're kind of tied to it. We like,
No, I understand
because
that.
that's our paging system, and the paging system is run by the or the Ontario government, okay, through the and so this is kind of an add-on to it, and yeah, we don't have a whole lot of choice. Like, I'm going to tell you, there's a long trail behind all this, and it goes back to when the Ontario government took over all the paging system. This used to be done privately, and it worked like a charm. Of course, in around 2000 or whenever they decided to take it all over, and they took it over. The problem is the fire department is considered the bottom end of it all. Okay, I mean it's basically the system was set up for the ambulances, okay? All right, which is fine. But we were left at the bottom end. And so our equipment got older and older and older. And I've been around a long time in this game, and I know we've been fighting for 20 years to try and get this part of it, and also the radio part of it. And now and what happened was, a new guy came on board about 2 years ago, and he finally did something. In 3 or 4 months, he did more than the other guy had done in 20 years or whatever. But now the other guy is taking it back from him. So we don't know where our radio systems are going as far as the communication with Renfrew, okay? And this is not only a problem in Renfrew County, as we found out at our last chiefs meeting when our representative from our Chiefs Association came. They're having the same problem all over Ontario with the Ontario government and the fire departments, okay? It's a political handball right now, so.
is it mandatory to all the municipalities?
Oh, we have to have a paging system, yeah. The only other thing we
To
can.
join this new system, you have to.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of choice, no.
Oh, okay.
Because if we don't have it, well, we're not gonna get paged, okay? We can go, now, I shouldn't say that. We can go, there's other paging companies, okay? But when you look at the dollars and cents, this is still the best way,
Okay.
okay?
Keith?
I understand that the town of Renfrew bought into this, but now they're not going to use the service, that they're going to Brockville. Can you explain that to me, please?
Some of them are not happy with the service, okay? Some of the chiefs. Arnprior jumped to Brockville about 5 years ago, okay? Renfrew is thinking about jumping. Now, at the last chiefs meeting, he said it hadn't gone through yet, but the way we understood it had gone through, but that's what they were looking at. Smith Falls came to one of our meetings. They have a system also, okay, that inviting anybody that wanted to jump on their system, okay. There's another system was up north. They came down to talk to us about a year ago, and it's the same thing. The dollars and cents are just almost double what we're paying with the Ontario government, okay, or with Renfrew, whatever you want to call it. Renfrew and Arnprior don't feel they're getting the service they need, okay? Some of the other ones are not happy sometimes with what they get, but I don't know, some of them have different ideas, I guess, that's all. That's the only, they're just not happy with what they're getting, okay? We're satisfied with what we're getting, okay? It works for us, and so, like, you don't need the Cadillac if the Volkswagen's working, okay? That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the equipment's been purchased, so it's all under warranty, I would assume? Is there any maintenance? Is
Yeah,
there,
yeah, that's all part of that was all, well, we were told that was all part of the contract, okay? Because that was the other side of the coin that we kept saying about the old stuff. Why wasn't it under maintenance? Because apparently, what was happening is that they had 2 spare machines in the basement sort of thing, and this guy that knew enough about the machines was going in and fixing them just so they could keep 2 machines going. They had 3, and they were down to 2 because the stuff was broke, okay? And there's such a gray area in who's really responsible, okay? So if Renfrew County owns the equipment, they should be, and they're providing the service who we're paying, then they should be maintaining it, okay? But there again, that's where the division comes in between the EMS service and the fire department service, okay? Is the fire department is on the bottom end and the EMS is, which I understand, I mean, to a certain extent, but.
so the province downloaded to the county, and now the county's downloading to individual municipalities for the,
Yeah, basically, that's kind of what's happened, yeah, yeah. But like I say, this is not something that's happened overnight. This has been going on
For a while.
at least 15, 20 years.
okay, thank you.
Al?
So would it be helpful, Tim, if Laurentian Valley started a motion to all members of Renfrew County, to municipalities, to tell the county what you had just said, that if it's their equipment, they should be maintaining it and maintaining it for both the ambulance service and for the fire service. It's got to start somewhere, and if you don't ask, you're never going to know. So maybe that's something that this municipality starts a motion.
I believe, I don't know if Reeve Watt can comment, but I know they went through all that already.
did that, yeah.
That was quite a negotiation over the past number of discussions, so I think this is where they ended up. Unfortunately, we didn't get a say in how it was dispersed in the sense of cost sharing, but the county did do that under their own.
But I think what I'm saying is we want to tell the county that if they're buying the system and they're going to be owning the system, then they should be maintaining the system and maintaining it for the same amount for the fire department as they are for the ambulance. And Tim is saying that right now the fire department is always on the bottom end, and it shouldn't be. So until we tell the county that that's what we as municipalities want, that's what we paid for, nothing's going to change.
Keith?
It was discussed at the county level, and actually there's probably $200,000 they had been putting into it, and we even asked that they subsidize this $360,000 for the radio set, and it was turned down. And they said, no, it's for the municipality, it's used by the municipalities, and it'll be the municipalities that pay for it.
But who is maintaining this equipment, I guess is what I'm trying to get to the bottom end.
Okay,
Who-
I understand Renfrew County, the CAC center, the communications center, that's who is responsible to maintain it. That's what I understand.
Brian, go ahead.
My question is, if the cost is worked out by being divided between all the municipalities in the county, and then you have Renfrew and Armpire bowing out, who's making up that difference? Is the county already ending up having to pay for those 2 municipalities, which are a large percentage of the population in the county?
I don't know how that's working.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's working. My understanding is everybody's involved in this and they made their payment. Whether you move on or not, you're still committed to your actual, your contribution. Maybe Wendy would have better.
I just want to say that Armprior wasn't a part of this at all because they pulled out several years ago.
Oh, yeah, right.
So it's only Renfrew that's pulled out. And so that was actually going to be one of my questions too, now who pays for their portion?
But if it's mandatory to be in, how can they walk away from their costs? That's what I don't get.
I'm not sure how that
Yeah, I
worked
know.
out, only because, yeah, they have been gone for 4 or 5 years from the system. So
But if Renfrew pulls out, then as
Yeah,
Al
yeah.
was saying, who's going to pick up that chair? And if it's mandatory to be part of it, then they shouldn't be allowed to opt out, or they leave their money in there
Yeah,
and
no,
still go ahead and do their own. Doesn't
I
make
don't know how
sense.
that works.
It's my understanding Renfrew did pay their share on this.
Okay. So we don't expect any more costs towards it. Okay. All right, enough about that one, unless anybody else has any questions or comments?
Motion, please.
Motion, please. Keith and Jennifer?
Moved by Ray Watt, second by Councillor Gauthier, that the Corporate Service and Protection Committee recommend to council to approve the cost of fire radio dispatch system in the amount of $36,158.26, including taxes, and approve the CEO clerk to enter into a cost-sharing agreement with the County of Renfrew and participating municipality for the purchase of the new console radio system.
All in favor? Carried. Move down, fire report. Any questions or comments for Tim? Or Tim, do you have any?
No, it was a busy month. January started off busy. Some late night structure fires, but it's part of the game.
Overall, Chief, is there a difference from year to year? Is it a big difference? Are we,
Last year was probably one of the highest years that I've ever seen. I've been around for 2 or 3 years, and I think it was our
Forget the
calls
zeros
last
on
year.
that?
What's that?
Did you forget the zeros in that?
145. I don't remember that many calls. 128, maybe 132, but not. Last year was 145 calls. That's the highest. Now, the other thing that is creating our calls a little bit higher is that we do respond for every MVC now that EMS goes to, okay? So that does make our calls go up. But other than that, yeah, that's probably one of the highest. Like, when I did that report, that I believe the average was 117 or 111 a year, okay? Calls that we had, so.
Al?
So all the motor vehicles, we're charging those all back to the insurance company?
Yeah.
So
Paid for-
what happens if you get called and you're halfway there and you get canceled?
We go, we proceed to the scene,
Yeah,
okay?
you've been called, you go
Sometimes we
anyway.
can get information, sometimes we can't. That's a problem. We try and go and get the information so we can try and get something out of it, so. Because usually the OPP are the ones that call us off, all right?
So Tim, I have a question for you. In a structural fire, for example, the one across from Tim Hortons on Robinson Lane.
Yeah.
So you leave there and you rope it off.
Mm-hmm.
So does it then become the responsibility of the homeowner to ensure that nobody gets into the building and does something they shouldn't do or get injured?
Yeah, we have a form. We have a form that we sign it with the owner. We're turning the property back over to him. Any structure fire, we do that. We have a form that's standardized, and he, like that night, that gentleman, I met him that morning, and he signed off, and, you know, and one of the other things I did mention to him that maybe should go to everybody, that just because there's nobody living in a property, you gotta plow your lanes, okay? And that lane wasn't plowed. We were tromping across the field, and you know, but you got to plow your lanes. Even if you have a property, make sure the lane's plowed. Okay, but yeah, no, we turn the property back over to the owner, sign the thing, and say, here, now it's your responsibility from here on in. So.
Do you know, or does Dean, do you know, is there a time limit? Obviously, the building is done. Mm-hmm. Is there a time limit? Do we have a bylaw that says that building must be taken down in a certain amount of time?
I don't know what that.
Maybe, I don't know, and Brett, maybe from the Ontario Building Code might have a different, normally the protocol is that we leave them a few months. Obviously, the insurance company may want to come up and see it. If it becomes a situation where it's any more than a few months, then it becomes a property standards issue at the very least, and maybe a structural issue as well. But at this point, being fresh like that, it would be just kind of working with him to see what his plans are. But if he drags his feet at any point, then we would bring in a machine, do it, and put it on his property taxes.
Well, that's good. I'm not saying jump in tomorrow and do it. I'm just curious as to how the procedure works. Brett, go ahead. You have to come up and use the mic, if you don't mind.
On that case in particular, I can speak a little more A demolition permit has been issued, so it is in the plans. Yeah, there was some communication even before the fire, so.
Right.
There was a complaint about unauthorized access. We have a paper trail where he said that it was addressed and boarded up, and some issues happened after that, but, yeah, we've been in touch, and the plan is to demolish completely.
Good.
So,
Thank you.
okay.
Anything else for Tim? Wendy?
Just wondering if you're on schedule for taking over the extrication
Yeah, we're on schedule, yeah.
next
We,
month?
Taking over March 1st. Yeah.
Thank you.
Everything's ready to roll.
Good. Okay, well, thanks very much, Tim.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Animal control report is in front of you. Any questions through Dean? Okay, seeing none. Subcommittees, Festival Hall. Betty's not here. Pembroke Library. Wendy.
We did not meet in January, but I can share that I did attend the library conference in Toronto last week. And the library did receive a couple of certificates. One was their recertification to be accredited, and they had the highest score. And just one thing I thought that was interesting, there's only 35 libraries in the whole province that are accredited, so that's quite something, because there's a lot of libraries. So there's 4,200 people there, and there was another award that they received that we didn't know until that day. They received an award from the Ministry for Innovation, and that award was for their Multi-Alicious event that they had last year for the first time. So Carthy was pleased, and we had a couple of staff members there as well.
Good, pass on our congratulations. Just for council's information, since the last meeting, we have not met with the city regarding the new contract, but I would assume it will be in the next couple of weeks, and we'll keep council updated. Okay, into Public Works, Ottawa Valley Waste, nothing really to report there, other than they've gone back to the regular hours on Thursdays. I know, Keith, you had asked for that a number of years ago. They've just taken the numbers, and it's just not warranted. Yeah, there's very, very few people using it. So they're gonna go back to the regular hours. Still having difficulty with our leachate new system. We're still being delayed, which is costing us more money all the time, and looks like we're gonna have to get our MP involved to see where to go. Go ahead.
We had the warden from MRC Pontiac speak at the county, and there's talk about building a chamber to burn, recycle, and get heat out of it and whatever. Has that been presented to the landfill site?
Not yet, but I do know that our landfill will be full in, I believe, 2035. So we really have 11 years left at the landfill. And at the 10-year mark, we will begin looking at what the area is going to do. And I truly believe it should be a county issue, because I know there's other landfills in the area that are going to be running out of time as well. And that might be the time where, you know, we start looking at that possibility.
In her presentation, she was thinking of the whole entire Pontiac, as well as the majority of Renfrew County and the city of Ottawa, and that there would be enough to go ahead and do that, and they have funding from the province there. But they will be reaching out probably in the near future.
Yeah, they haven't reached out to us, and like I said, I know many, many years ago when we decided to go with Allison Fraser landfill, it took a long time to put it all together, so that's why our goal is at 10 years to start looking. And we'll involve everybody in Renfrew County and obviously beyond. Because it's gonna have to happen. Okay, anything else? Nope, okay, move on to Nevada.
Yes. Okay, so I prepared a report for kind of one of the final pieces of the new playground project that we received a grant for in in 2022, and construction started last summer and ended at the end of September. So now we have to come up with a name for this new park that's in our township. So I presented some options as per your request during my last report on this topic. And so I did come up with 3 potential names after consulting with the Willow Ridge Committee and staff. So what we came up with was 3 options. Elgin Street Park would be one of them. That'd be the simple one because it would tell you exactly where the park is and be easily identifiable to residents and visitors. Another idea was Willow Ridge Park to kind of pay tribute to the volunteers that from that neighborhood that rallied to have this park put in. Unfortunately, there wasn't land within the Willow Ridge subdivision, but they were the people that really got this park created. And then also another option would be LaPointe Park, which would recognize the developer for giving us the parkland before the subdivision was even approved. So, Mr. Jimmy LaPointe. So those were 3 options that I presented to you. It's staff's recommendation that you go with Elgin Street Park and prepare a memorial stone to recognize Mr. LaPointe and the memory of his late son Zachary LaPointe by the playground, by the new playground that was constructed. I don't know if you have any questions. I did provide a few samples of some that are at Allison Fraser Rec Center, just to give you an idea of what it could look like.
So we're looking for a motion tonight to name it, correct? Wendy, you're first.
So I would make the motion to support the staff recommendation of naming the park Elgin Street Park along with the memorial stone.
Can we have, do we make the motion first, then have a discussion?
Sure.
Discussion.
Yeah, well, you can have discussion.
And I did include in my emails, and I do know that Elgin Street borders the city of Pembroke and Laurentian Valley, and that's why I suggested the LV in front of the Elgin Street Park. I just want to make sure residents know that it's a park that Laurentian Valley put together. I'm sure over time it'll be realized, but we don't have any other parks that are on the border of the 2 communities, and I just thought the LV in front would.
I totally agree with that.
Maybe just a comment, I guess Nevada admitted we had this discussion. I think certainly there will be a sign there that will have, and probably more than one, with the LV logo, obviously, so that'll take it away as opposed to putting it right in the name. But if council wants it in front of the name, so it'll be LV, Elgin Street Park, it's up to council, really. But ultimately, there will be some signage and colors.
So the plan is to brand all of our parks, because right now we don't have any type of branding. So we're going to start with this new park, and then the Allison Fraser LV Four Seasons Trail is a new sign that we're going to be creating this year. And if there's money left over in the budget, we'll keep plugging away at each of the parks. But the sign will have the logo and the park name so that people know that they're at a Laurentian Valley park, any of the parks that they visit. So that's the plan, but you can choose to put the LV in front as well.
Okay. Council's wishes? Jennifer?
Well, we can give the signage to a different park and put LV, because this sign is just, it's a new park. So it's a new sign anyway. So why don't we just do a new sign for the LV Elgin Street Park and put the other sign somewhere else at a different park?
But it saves duplicating a sign. No?
Well, the sign has to be created regardless.
So
So the logo will be on it.
On all
Like,
of
that's just the branding, strategy that we're gonna do. Every new sign that we create will have the LV logo on it. So the sign will have to be created no matter what for this park.
So it's gonna say Elgin Street Park,
Yeah, with the
Laurentian Valley
logo.
underneath it, or just the
Like,
logo?
yeah, I'm not, we have to do an RFP for the signage, but it'll look something like the logo. Yeah, and then the name of the park, and then the address.
Oh, it's in the
You
name.
had a sample.
Yeah, I thought she
I
did.
should have put it in the report, to be honest.
Well, It's my idea to put the LV in front, so as long as Laurentian Valley is gonna be on that sign with the Elgin Street Park, then I'm fine with that.
So maybe the motion, motion. Moved by Councillor Hewitt, second by Councillor Wren, that the Corporate Service and Protection Committee recommend to council to approve the naming of new parkette located at 622 Elgin Street, the Elgin Street Park, and that the installation of a memorial stone near the playground dedicating a new play space in memory of Mr. Lapointe's late son, Zachary Lapointe.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Should we mention the signage is gonna be there?
Well, okay, so, so just so we know, when this happens, we're still gonna have an official opening with all this in place, so the sign will be there, and the stone will be there, and then we'll have that opening, and we're hoping to do that.
Yeah, it's part of the grant requirement that I do a grant, like a grand opening, and I have a few other promotional items I have to do to satisfy the grant. So in the spring is when I plan to do when the sign is already installed and there, that's when we'll
Okay.
do the grand opening.
Jennifer?
Are we to pick out a rock, like you want us to vote on a rock as well this evening? Or
No, just the idea of one like that, we would put one, and then I can share with you some options when we look into a company to do it.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion?
I think, sorry, just to add to the stone part, the dedicated stone, I think we would certainly wanna go out to the family and ask about their opinion on what they see that looking like before we kind of make that decision, but we'll do that and then bring that back. Yeah, that was the sign.
That was what Nevada is.
With the Laurentian Valley in the top?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it is gonna identify that it is.
In Laurentian Valley, yeah. Okay,
Good.
any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Chris, please.
Okay, before maybe Chris gets started, certainly want to take the opportunity to welcome Chris. I know he's 3 weeks on the job. We're certainly proud to have him here. He came highly recommended from Killaloo, so that was really good. But I know he's born and raised in Laurentian Valley, so it's nice to have him back and doing a job for us that we think he'll do a great job. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to him, and he can tell you what he's done in the last 3 weeks.
Thank you very much, Dean. Pleasure to be here, council. Pleasure to be here for my first of many council meetings. It's been a busy 2 weeks here since I first started off. We hit the ground running pretty quickly, which is great. So the first part of my report is mainly just the onboarding and training. There's quite a bit of things to know and do, so I've been getting oriented with all of that with the website and the social media and all the other HR things in place. So I feel like I got a pretty good grip on that now that we're about 2 weeks in. And looking forward to growing that and developing what I've learned from that. In a list of many firsts, I had my first media release as well about our budget. So that's been distributed out to the newspapers and all other media. I attended a very interesting symposium at CNL, the Can Do Symposium. It was a really great opportunity to network with some of the people who are going to be building a lot of these new things, including the near surface disposal, the micro modular nuclear reactors, as well as their Advanced Nuclear Material Research Center. As you can see here, there's a lot of jobs. And so on behalf of the township, my role there was obviously to network and also make people aware that Laurentian Valley is a great place to live and raise a family. And that hope that when they do have people coming in to want to work at CNL, that they consider Laurentian Valley as a place to set up and raise a family and live a great life. I've been working with Nevada on the Water and Dirt Festival. So we've 2 events that we're working on with that. And I will be with the mayor attending an event on the 13th of February, which will be their funding announcement. Volunteer recreation, I had an opportunity to meet on February 1st with all the volunteer groups, which was really exciting. It's quite amazing, the setup that you have here with the volunteers, and they're clearly very engaged and have a lot of exciting things going on. So from my perspective, I think there's a lot of things that we can do in terms of grant writing and support from the township. And so I was just there as a sponge, kind of absorbing as much as I could and trying to make those relationships to try to grow and get everyone on, continue the great work that's already been done. I attended the Ontario East AGM virtually. And I also produced my first newsletter. We don't have the data out for by the time I had to do this newsletter, but we are up to 630 participants. And we've got that out on time for February 1st, which is amazing. And then there's a bunch of lists of stuff here that I've been up to as well. I won't go through all that, but it's definitely been a busy 2 weeks and a very exciting 2 weeks. Everyone here has been very kind and very welcoming. And on a personal level, I'm very excited to be here and can't wait to work with all of you and everybody here to keep doing the amazing work that's been going on here in Laurentian Valley Township.
Thank you very much, Chris. Great job. Thank you. Great job. Welcome aboard for sure, as Dean said, and we look forward to big things from you and working in Jack Wilson's chambers. And
Yes, sir.
Right on. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we're down to subcommittees. Friends of the Disabled.
So I'll share firstly that we were supposed to have a polar bear dip on Sunday, and it was unfortunate we had to cancel due to the thin ice, but we can't control the weather. I do understand there might be a few other events coming up in the near future. I don't have anything concrete to share yet, but when I do, I will share that for sure. And I want to say thank you, Mayor, for preparing a certificate for one of our volunteer board members, Vicki Kelly. She was on the board for 25 years, which I think is very significant for a volunteer board member. So at our AGM on the 18th of January, I did give that to her on your behalf. And the city also recognized her too for her volunteer work. And I think it's a huge significant thing to be 25 years on a volunteer board.
Absolutely. Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you.
Shady Nook, Brian?
There was a meeting last night. I'm in Boston at a convention, but I believe Nevada was there. So I don't know if Nevada has anything to comment.
Yeah, so they've got their hockey programs up and running. They've had a little bit of trouble with the ice, but they also have some other options if they can't proceed with the Shady Nook ice. Rankin or Allison Fraser, they're thinking of moving the program there. They're investing in some new soccer nets. They're looking into possibly getting a new Zamboni. Theirs is at the end of life. I believe it's a 1992 Zamboni. And they've ended up filling the hall convener position to a member that's currently sitting on the board that decided to shift over into that. So it's going to be Laura DeMont. That's going to be their new hall convener. So that was good for them. She runs the hockey program and the soccer program, so she's a very organized lady, and they're in good hands with her now. So that's pretty much it that came up.
Thank you. Allison Fraser, Betty's not here. Forrest Lee, I'm assuming there's
Nothing to report.
nothing to report. Pleasant View is the same, I'm sure. Stafford,
Nothing to report.
nothing to report. Four Seasons, Mark, you can go ahead.
Sure, yeah, it's, I think with the outdoor rinks, it's been a bit of a challenge keeping some ice going, but we're doing our best to keep it open as much as we can. We're down for a day or so and reopen today, hopefully open tomorrow, and we'll see what the weekend brings, but long range forecast looks like some cooler temperatures, so good for both the skating trail and the outdoor rinks, and our snowshoe trail is there. We do have our executive election coming up on February 22nd, so we'll start some advertising for that probably later this week. There are a few vacancies, a few people coming back as well, so we'll hopefully have our new executive formed in a couple of weeks, and some night skates, special events, our annual Family Day scavenger hunt coming up, so lots still planned, and hopefully we have a few more weeks of winter left.
Thanks, Mark. And if you check Chris's newsletter, the hours or the skating trail is in your newsletter, I believe. And I'll be serving hot chocolate on Valentine's, so if you want to bring your date out, I'll give you hot chocolate. Fit and Feisty, Keith.
As far as Fit and Feisty goes, they certainly are a fit and feisty group. The last meeting was January the 10th, and they're up to 384 members. Just incredible. Their meetings are very involved and consistently planning for future events. There's another meeting this Wednesday of this week. I'm not going to be able to attend, but I believe Nevada will be there, so she can make a report then in March. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the review report is there for County Council, January 24. Keith, you want to add anything there?
One thing I'd like to mention there, the report is there, and hopefully you've read it through. The county is now creating a single bylaw to cover all of the managed the forests that they have, as well as the trails. There's two bylaws that currently exist. One is number 9209, and it's for the, it governs the K&P trail, and then there's the 11918. It's a second bylaw that covers the Algonquin Trail. Thing is, there's a difference between the two trails and what is allowed and what isn't allowed. On the Renfrew County website, Zen City, there's a tab there. They're doing a survey. So if anybody has input and would like to see what is going on or wants to make some suggestions, that would be an opportunity to be part of that. So Zen City, and you'll see an array of different options coming up, different locations about what Zen City is. It's used for planning as well. But this survey is there, and I encourage anybody that is interested to certainly participate.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Keith? Seeing none, no motion for this?
No.
Okay. Council comments? Everybody's quiet tonight? Okay. Move on to a motion to go into closed.
Yes, please. Mover and second.
Alan and Jennifer.
Moved by Councilor Rand, second by Councilor Gauthier, that the council and committee meeting on February 6, 2024 move into closed session at 6:30, chaired by Mayor Bennett according to Ontario Municipal Act 2001, Section 239.2, Section 239.3, Section 239.3.1, in order to address a matter pertaining to personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal and local board employees.
All in favor? Okay, we'll just take a quick 2-minute break, 3-minute break. Okay, Dean, move back to open session.
Mover and a seconder, please.
Jennifer and Alan.
Moved by Counselor Gauthier, second by Counselor Wren, that the council and committee meeting of February 6, 2024 move back into open session at 7:10.
All in favor? Okay. Adjournment? Brian? I saw your hand up, sorry. I keep missing you. And Wendy.
Moved by Counselor Ugly, second by Counselor Hewitt, that the council and committee meeting of February 6, 2024 be adjourned at 7:10.
All in favor? Carried. Thanks, guys.